So, how do you really build a legacy from the ground up? I'm not just talking about a career, but something monumental, something that makes people stop and wonder how it was even possible. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the lyrical blueprint of an artist who's doing exactly that. And we're using a single verse from Reece as our guide. Okay, let's just jump right in with a core idea: the pyramids. Think about it. They're ancient, they're massive, and they're so mysterious that we're still debating how they were built. Reece is putting his own come up on that same level of awe-inspiring work. He knows people are looking at him, at his success, and just scratching their heads asking, how in the world did he pull that off? Well, the rest of this verse is basically his answer. So here's the game plan for how we're gonna deconstruct this. We're starting at the bottom with the foundation, his unwavering vision. Then we'll get into the mindset of a pyramid builder. After that, we'll see his lesson in brilliance. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to create the self-made OG. You know, every great building starts with a clear plan, right? Before you even lay a single brick, you gotta know exactly what you're building. For Reece, this whole thing started with an internal, absolutely unshakable belief in his own dream. Now check out this opening line. When they painted my dream. He's straight up acknowledging that other people, society, family, maybe his peers, they all had their own ideas about what his future should look like. But right from the jump, his response was never, ever doubt or confusion. And he chose this word ambivalent for a very specific reason. He's saying there was zero internal debate, no mixed feelings, nothing. While everyone else was projecting their visions onto him, his own focus was just crystal clear. That right there, that's the concrete foundation for this entire pyramid. And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? He follows up by saying nothing about him is frivolous, and his choices were legitimate. He's drawing a hard line in the sand. On one side, you have the casual, not-so-serious path. On the other, you have his path, a series of deliberate, serious, and purposeful decisions. He wasn't just messing around, he was building something real. So that vision leads us directly into the heart of his message. If the vision is the blueprint, then this mindset, well, this is the hard labor. Now we're getting into the how of it all. The how behind that pyramid metaphor, that relentless, almost superhuman work ethic that's required. He really breaks his mentality down for us. First, he says the pressure was imminent. He saw it coming, so he knew he had to be serious from day one. That anticipation is what fueled his focus. And because of that, he says doubters could never question his diligence. His work ethic was undeniable. Which brings us to this killer line. His success is the lesson, but there's no syllabus. You can't just read a book to figure it out. You have to see the work. Okay, so you've got the vision and you've got the work ethic, but what happens when the rest of the world just doesn't see it yet? This next part is all about that tension, that gap between knowing you're a genius and dealing with all the skepticism from the outside. This line right here is so powerful. It's not a boast, it's him looking back and stating a fact. At just 19 years old, he knew he was ingenious, but that self-awareness was met with doubt. It's like the pyramid was already being built, but the people watching from the sidelines just couldn't understand the architecture yet. All right, stick with me here because this next bit is a total masterclass in wordplay. To really get it, we first got to understand the literal definition of amphibious. It's all about being able to thrive in two totally different environments, like land and water. And boom, this is where his genius just shines. He sets it up perfectly. He's coming straight out the motherland, that's the land. And he's bringing the wave, that's the water. He's saying he's amphibious. He can dominate his original environment while, at the exact same time, introducing a completely new sound, a new style, a new wave. He's built to thrive in both worlds. So we've got this unwavering vision, a relentless work ethic, and now this proven, undeniable brilliance. Where does all that take you? What does the final structure even look like once the pyramid is finished? It leads right here, to the top, the pinnacle, the self-made original gangster. And that's not a title someone gave him. It's a status he earned through every single step we've just broken down. This is the declaration from the top of the pyramid. He's not just saying he's better. He's saying the way he got here was so fundamentally different that you can't even compare him to anyone else. He sees no equivalence because he didn't walk the same road. He built his own monument. And let's not forget where it all began. At 19, a point where he knew he was a genius, but the world just hadn't caught up yet. This was the moment he started laying those first massive stones. And now, look at the journey. Big 25. He's marking his age like it's a new era. He's not the promising kid anymore. He's a master of his craft, collaborating with other heavy hitters from a position of real power and respect. But here's what's so crucial, maybe the most important part. Even when you're at the top, the work doesn't stop. Back in the lab and I'm working OT, overtime. That exact same diligence he talked about at the beginning, it's still what drives him. A pyramid builder is always maintaining the structure. And really, it all comes down to this single line. This is the thesis statement for the entire verse. He's got the youth, he's got the energy, but his mind, his moves, his entire strategy, it all comes from the wisdom of a veteran. He earned that OG title through his own unique architectural process. So as we wrap this up, it kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In a world where it's so much easier to just move into a pre-built castle or follow someone else's blueprint, what does it truly mean to build your own pyramid? To create something so unique, so monumental, that people will look at it for years and wonder, how did you ever do it?